Hi, welcome to everyone's favourite segment, the Mailbag, where people just send me random stuff, and unfortunately, it's built up a bit again, just a little bit. Oh, camera can't even pan up that high. Well, we may as well start with something easy. A postcard. I love postcards, and look at this lovely little town in Innsbruck. And I know where that is. That's not in Australia, it's in Austria. Beautiful. Love how they've captured the sun on the cliff tops up there. Brilliant. Lovely little town. And here we go. Who's it from? Hi Dave, greetings from Austria, not Australia. We are two enthusiastic hobbyists. We attend the Higher Technical College of Electronics in Innsbruck, and we really enjoy your blog! Exclamation mark. Thank you very much. Keep doing all that good work. Two Austrian fans, Simon and I believe it's Joseph, is it? Thank you very much, Simon and Joseph. P.S. We like it when you say Australia, not Austria. And I'm not sure what the stamp is. Bernardo Strozzi. So I'm not even going to pronounce that kind. It's a painting, is it? So is it a stamp of a famous painting, perhaps? I don't know. And if you do want to send me stuff, send it to Dave Jones, that crazy Aussie bloke, P.O. Box 7949, Balcombe Hills, BC, New South Wales 2153, Australia, not Austria. Next up we have one from the Republic of China. Rock. Love it. It's from Chiang Liang Chi, with a silent H, I'm guessing, from New Taipei City. Hi to all my fans in New Taipei City in Taiwan. Never been to Taiwan. It's a Republic of China, but I don't know if the Taiwanese people like the Chinese people very much, do they? Or vice versa? Not sure. I don't know. Does anyone know about the politics and history there? Let's check out the stamp. And we have ourselves a lovely looking bug there from the Republic of China. I'm sure that's its botanical name. Is that the correct term? I don't know. Thermius Taiwanese says, bleh. Yeah, I give up. And is that how you write Australia in Taiwanese? I don't know. Or maybe it's not Austria, perhaps. This thing open and see what we have inside. It's stuck. What is it? We've got a card. Isn't that lovely? Thank you very much. I have no idea what it says, but nice artistry on there, nice penmanship. Beautiful card. And what do we got? We have a note. No idea what that... Oh, that's part of the... Right, oh yes, okay, that's the embossing part of the card stuck on there. Let's have a look. Ta-da! Hello Dave, thanks for the wonderful EEVblog. Thanks. Chinese New Year of this year is the snake. Wow, the year of the snake. And I'm awaiting the spring season coming soon. Well, I live in Taiwan, Northern Hemisphere, whose seasons are opposite to yours. They are indeed. I went to working holiday in Australia for 1 year. Great country, great people, and got kind of surprised to see your inspiring video about electronics. Thanks again. Wish you have a joyful year. No worries. No wuckers, mate. Thank you very much, Chiang. Woohoo! Happy EEVblogging. Thank you very much. And let's start out with a Yank. Michael Bruss. G'day, Michael. He's from Davis in California. 95616. Weird ass 5-digit postcodes there. We've only got 4 digits in Australia, and I can't quite read what is in the box. So, a bit of a mystery. So let's crack it open and have a look. I think this is a fairly recent one. I'm opening these in kind of random order. Haven't really... There's a few that have been sitting here forever because I know what's in them and they will require a bit of work. So we have a note. Wait, read the note. Should we read the note first? No, let's go straight for the goodness. Here we go. It's... What is it? Oh! It is... Oh! A selenium rectifier. I think he I remember somebody messaging me or emailing me about a selenium rectifier from Federal. Really old school stuff. Oh, wow. We're going to have to test this. Hi Dave, enclosed is one new but vintage selenium rectifier made by Federal Telephone and Radio. A little bit about the company and selenium rectifiers is below. Feel free to test the rectifier to destruction. Oh, I don't know. It's too sexy for that. Oh. However, be aware that these devices can revenge themselves on their tormentors. Sometimes when they fail, they emit a cloud of toxic selenium-containing smoke. You have been warned. The voltage rating of selenium rectifiers can be deduced by counting the plates. It's 20 volts per plate. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160 volts. There you go. Current rating depends on the area of the plates and the thickness of the selenium coating. Plate cores are either aluminium or steel, not aluminum. It's aluminium. Oh, Yanks. Aluminium or steel. The ones I've sent you has non-magnetic plates, so are assumed to be aluminium. It's light enough. Yeah, I would assume they're aluminium. Absolutely. Alfoil, by the way. Not aluminium foil, alfoil. Confuses the hell out of the Yanks. Selenium rectifiers are probably the second oldest solid-state electronic devices. Yep, I wouldn't doubt it. The oldest being the galena crystals used in early radios. Whoa, man. Now we're testing the old greybeards. The concept of using selenium as a diode arose in the late 19th century, but commercial production did not begin until the early 1930s. Selenium rectifiers were a big hit, replacing less reliable, more fragile, heat-generating vacuum tubes. Eventually, germanium and then silicon replaced selenium, and I don't think there is any valid use for selenium rectifiers today outside of keeping vintage equipment operational. I really enjoy your blogs and have learned a tremendous amount from them. My wife and I visited Sydney a couple of years ago and loved it. Geez, everyone's been here. Fantastic, but the flocks of flying foxes at dusk were a little spooky. Keep up the good work. Were they flying foxes or were they bats? Keep up the... Mike Bruss from Davis in California. A little on the history of Federal. Oh, awesome. The original Federal name came from Federal Telegraph, a company started in the late 19th century in California. Eventually, through a series of mergers, yeah, no surprises there, happens today. God, are there any companies left? Federal Telegraph moved to Buffalo, New York and changed its name to Federal Telegraph and Telephone, aka Federal T&T, in 1909. Lee DeForest, yeah, everyone should know that name, co-inventor of the vacuum tube, worked for a while as a designer for Federal T&T. There you go. Didn't know that. Trivia question at the pub. Federal T&T had more than one division. One was called Federal Recorder, which produced phonographs and records. In the late 1930s, Federal Recorder appeared as a brand of similar equipment produced by Wes Gardner of Illinois, which is still in business today as Wes Gardner Electronics. There you go. Outlived them. Not sure if Wells Gardner, I say Wells Gardner, acquired Federal Recorder from Federal T&T or started it as an independent brand of their own. And we're not done yet. Geez, is this stuff in Wikipedia, I wonder? I don't know. If not, it should be. Another division was called Federal Telephone and Radio, which produced electronic components like selenium rectifiers under that name and complete radios under the brand Federal Radio. Another division of Federal T&T was Buffalo radio station WGR. And this is WGR playing all the hits from the 1920s, which is still in operation today. The GR in WGR stood for George Road, who was large in Rand. Oh, man, I can't read and do this video and look at the screen and do everything at the same time. Confuses me. I'm male, you know. Who was a large investor in Federal T&T. George Rand was part of the Rand family of Remington Rand fame, yes, and people should know that name, which produced office equipment and eventually the Univac computer. Remington typewriters were the first to use the QWERTY keyboard layout, which we are still cursed with today, yes, because if people don't know, the QWERTY keyboard was designed to slow us down, because the machines, so the urban myth goes that the machines were so slow back then, they had to arrange the keyboard in some convoluted layout, and they came up with the QWERTY one to try and slow people down. But hey, now they do, 200 words a minute. Federal TNT was acquired by ITT Corp in the late 1920s and produced components and equipment under its own brands until the 1950s when the Federal brands were replaced with the ITT brand. Oh, there you go. Thank you very much, Mike. That was absolutely fascinating. And if this info is not in Wikipedia, somewhere, it damn well should be. Can the EEVblog now be used as a resource? Because I've read this out and, EEVblog's a respected engineering resource. And does this now become official history? I don't know. Now, of course, if memory serves me correctly, these plates these have quite a high drop, like in the order of like a volt per plate or something like that. So really, there's no point measuring it with the diode range of a regular multimeter. There's, and we're just not going to get anything with so many plates in there. What is it? 2, 4, 6, 8 plates. So really, all we can do is hook it up to a power supply with a series resistor, and we'll see if we can get this thing working. Now I've got it hooked up through a 32 ohm load resistor here, got it hooked up to my bench supply, measuring the current here and measuring the voltage across the rectifier diode here. It's got positive on there, so I assume that's the anode. So we'll hook it up and see. Now I'm at 0 volts at the moment, as you can see. Let's wind the wick up, and we are getting, you'd expect no current flow until you reach the almost near the voltage. No, nothing. 8 volts. No. Have we got it back to front? Looks like we've got it back to front. Wind the power supply all the way up. No, it's as far as it goes. 22 volts. We have it back to front, folks. So, of course, we haven't got a high enough voltage to break it down. Well, I do, but I'm going to save it for a separate video where I can characterize this thing properly. We just want a simple forward voltage drop measurement. So, it looks like that is back to front. Alright, I've got it the other way around now. Negative is connected to the positive there. And by the way, this is, if you want to know, this is 450 milliamp rated, 160 volts, of course. I've got it back to front. Let's wind the wick up. We've got no current, of course. And, nothing yet. Hey, there we go. It's starting to increase. There you go. Because, of course, it's not just a sharp curve, a diode, characteristic curve of a diode is... doesn't just suddenly turn on, so expect it to saturate around about 8 volts. That was only a rough rule of thumb, really, but it looks like, hey, we're up to 15 volts on the supply now, by the way. Yeah, sorry, I can't show the supply at the same time, but yeah, 15 volts on the supply, so that looks like the diode is now working, and we're getting up to 300 odd milliamps, and we're up 22 volts, the supply is at maximum. 22.5 volts, 7.7 volt drop. There you go. It works. It's a diode. Woohoo! So thank you very much, Mike. That is absolutely fascinating bit of vintage tech there, and I'll be sure to do another video where I try and characterize this thing a little bit better. I won't let the magic smoke out of it though, of course. That would be a shame. Look, it's just a thing of beauty. It really is. I can remember seeing my first selenium rectifier as a kid, like I don't know, I was probably 8 or something, and I had no idea. Like, I knew about diodes, fine, whatever. And I took apart this old battery charger, 12 volt lead acid car battery charger, and it had a couple of these plates in there, and they were in series with the thing. And I thought, that, what the hell is that? And of course, I didn't have any info on it at the time. None of my books mentioned any sorts of these. I didn't even, had never heard of selenium rectifiers before, or plate diodes, or plate rectifiers, or whatever you care to call the things. But I sort of knew it had to be operating as a diode, but I didn't know how. And well, couldn't just look up Wikipedia then. Geez, no, folks, no such thing back then. So all I had was the info in my books, and they just had, solid state, germanium and silicon stuff. That's all we had, really. So, geez, I don't know how long after that I finally figured out, I finally realized that this was one of these selenium rectifiers, but Anyway, very confusing when you're a kid and you see something like that in there, because you couldn't buy it at your local Tricky Dick store. That's for sure. Anyway, thanks, Mike. Fascinating. Next up, package from Maxie Isaac in Mount Juliet in TN, which I believe is Tennessee. Stand to be corrected. He did send it to that crazy Aussie bloke. And description of contents, alarm. Well, okay, $5 worth of alarm. Let's check it out, shall we? No stamps, but we do have, look at this, nice looking badge / sticker, Wilson County Emergency Management. There you go. I guess he's part of Wilson County Emergency Management. Beauty. Hazmat. Well, I hope there's nothing hazardous in here, so let's whip it open and see what we've got. Ta-da. An alarm. We have a note. What is it, like an alarm panel? It didn't go off when I opened it. That's the main thing. Hi Dave, I love your blog. It has been a great inspiration and is an excellent source for getting deeper into electronics design. I used to work for a local federal emergency management branch by the name of WEMA. Isn't it FEMA? Sticker on the box, installing commercial fire alarm systems and warning sirens. When I left, I was left with a lot of interesting equipment, so I thought I'd send you something for the Mailbag teardown. Thank you very much. In the bubble wrap is a WeLock AS24 MCW notification appliance. Ooh, for a commercial American fire alarm system. Its input is 24 volts DC, and if power it up, be warned, it's loud. I don't think I'll do that. I think I'm already loud enough here in the lab. I'm not sure what my neighbours think, and it is during 9 to 5 working hours here. Better keep it down. This is a horn strobe enabled appliance, but once the strobe is broken due to taking a fall about a year ago and has been removed. Thanks very much. Thank you, Isaac. Oh, he's got a YouTube username. Spectra Hertz. Awesome. Let's check it out. So, no, sorry, I'm not going to power it up. Might open it up, have a look in here, but that's about it. Oh, yeah, it's broken, all right. Clunk, clunk, clunk. It's well and truly broken off in there. Oh. So I assume, fire, warning, Will Robinson. I assume that we just get our screwdriver in there to, yeah, seems to be the go, to whip that out. Yeah, okay. No, there's no screws there, right? No, I'm not imagining things. Doll, I completely missed the screw on the front there. Jeez, I was attacking that with the bigger screwdriver and oops. There we go. Ta-da! Too easy. Oh, flip, flip. Boo! We have a board. And that looks well and truly like a single-sided phenolic-based board. It's not your usual fiberglass type by the looks of it. Got a couple of jumpers here which set something. And surface mount, of course, single-sided board, but they required some surface mount parts, a couple of diodes there, some sort of regulator or transistor over there, and looks like we have one dip package chip on the top, and yeah, not a huge amount inside here, as you'd expect, but check out the chip. They've got it their own brand, WeLock Inc., and which is not unusual to see. You know, chips personally branded with the company's name. It'll just be an off-the-shelf micro or something like that. And of course, you pay a little bit of money and they will relabel them for you. But look, that's a bit more unusual. A WeLock brand cap. Of course, it's not their cap. They don't make caps. I'm sure of that. They've just bought it from someone else. And that's the storage cap for the flash strobe, of course. Massive inductor over here. Couple of power resistors down in there, and looks like it's got a mode switch which does something. No idea, not labelled, but yeah, not much to it at all. We got ourselves though. Look at that. There we go. Little MOV on the input there. That's the 12 volt input directly there, or 24 was it? Did he say? Yeah, 24 volts input. So they've at least got a MOV protection there. They've got a ceramic resonator there for the little 3-pin, of course, ceramic resonator for the microcontroller. So it's probably like a little pick or something like that. And that is about it. Oh, not terribly exciting. Oh, there we go. There's the label for the switch. There you go. 75, 15, 30, 110. I assume that's some sort of rate, maybe a strobe rate timer thing. I don't know, something like that. But although it's not very interesting, these are good to scrap because you can actually reuse these strobe circuits. So, you know, very useful to have one or two of these lying in the junk box just for hacking purposes. I like it. Thank you very much, Isaac. There we go. Yep. 15, 30, 75 or 110 CD. I assume that's candelas. So that's the, I assume the brightness of the strobe light, presumably. 75 dB SPL. That's not screamer loud. Really. So, but yeah, look, it's interesting. It's all UL listed. It's got to meet various approval standards, and well, what the hell are they patenting this thing for? You got to be kidding me. What's patentable in there? Next up, we have something from the old dart. Australia, not Austria. Piss off even more people again with another mention of it. Just electronics, $10 worth. It's from the old dart because it's Her Majesty's Royal Mail. Whoa. And they want to remain anonymous. Content, big arrow. Contents, electronics. Well, I'd hope so. This is the Electronics Engineering video blog. So let's open it up. Well, it's the Electronics Engineering video blog, and here one of my most popular segments is me opening my bloody mail. Can you believe it? Oh, it's that crap again. Oh, it just gets everywhere. I hate this stuff. It's horrid. If you don't open it properly, if you don't keep it sealed, it just blows everywhere. We have ourselves a note, and we have ourselves, looks like several items. Oh, good old handwriting. Look at this. I love it. Brings back memories. Hi, Dave. Thought that you might like something a little different to take apart. I've not seen you work on anything like these yet. Enclosed airbag control ECU and laid guidance camera out of two recent Hyundai cars, both of which have prematurely reached their end of life by becoming too friendly with roadside barriers. I love the blogs. They are really interesting and informing. Keep up the excellent work. Have fun. I always do. Thank you very much, Joey. By coincidence, I have been trying to get one of these airbag controllers off eBay. I have been hunting around for quite a while, trying to get one of these things, but I haven't been trying too hard, obviously, and I'm a tight ass, you know. I don't want to pay like $100 for one or something like that just to rip apart. So awesome. Thank you very much. Airbag control unit. This will make an excellent teardown Tuesday. I'm obviously not going to do it today. And check it out. Is that like Arabic or something? Excuse me if I've got your, you know, language wrong there, whatever it is, but it looks kind of, you know, Arabic-like to me. But there you go. It's a TRW airbag controller. Fantastic. That's going to make for a good teardown because these things have to be ultra reliable. So there'll be, you know, I mean, just the approvals which go into this thing. And it does look like we can actually open it with some Torx screws there, perhaps, and it should just pop off. It's hopefully not potted, because that was always my fear. I got one of these things and, you know, completely potted, and I don't want to have to, you know, etch away the pot in and all that sort of stuff. So, maybe a sneak peek. I have a screwdriver. So we'll have ourselves a sneak peek here, will we? Lift the skirt up. Ta-da! It ain't potted, folks. Brilliant. Now, it looks like you can't just lift that board out, but you can prise it out because, look, the connectors are not soldered. And there you go. They've got these press fit pins on these connectors, and yes, they are actually reliable. Well, they have to be used in a high vibration automotive application like this with, you know, temperature extremes and all the rest. So they haven't soldered in that connector there at all. They're just the press fit type, and also looks like they've got some other parts up there which are also press fit in. There you go. So that I am going to leave for a teardown Tuesday, so you don't get to see the bottom. Ooh, there's a programming pad by the looks of it. Programming /test pad. Oh, What's underneath? Look down there. We have a whole bunch of vias under a chip. Some sort of heat sink. Thermal pad on the bottom of the chip. Interesting. Sorry, that's for next time. And here we have the lane guidance camera. Doesn't this look funky? Oh man, that's got spaceship written, like shuttlecraft written all over it. Does a shuttlecraft make that noise? I don't think so. Put, 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 put. No, it's like silent because it's in space. Pigs in space.